welcome to Wednesday's Tipping. Today in a moment we're going to hear from Ben Hutton of the Betting Desk. Not much racing going on this weekend, so he'll be looking ahead to Royal Ascot. But first I'm joined by Nick Watts of the RFA for his best bets of the day. There's lots of racing for us to look at today, 6 meetings in total. You're going to be looking ahead to Ayr and Newton Abbot, and then we're going to start at Ayr then, and it's Caledonia you like in the 210. Lucy Alexander on board.
Yeah, I do. I like it quite a lot, actually, because I think there's a favourite in there, Cotan, trained by Mark Prescott, who was beaten at odds on last time. And I imagine that will also make the market. So if you do fancy something else in the race, and I happen to do so, then you should get a nice price about it. And Caledonia is a horse I've followed over the winter, actually, because it was quite a good bumper horse. Finished second in an Ayr bumper in January, so it's got a bit of track experience. And it went on to run at Cheltenham and Aintree in the big bumpers. It's obviously quite highly thought of. It's well bred, related to some really good horses. And didn't disgrace himself at all. I think it was 10th at Cheltenham in that bumper. Then went to Aintree and was third, placed in the Grand National Day bumper there, a Grade 2 event. So really, really good, solid form. Went back on the flat last time, didn't quite come off. It was backed into favouritism at Thirsk. That was under Lucy Alexander as well. But the point I'll make about that is that the Thirsk race came on quite soft ground and it was over 1 mile 4. As he's been placed in bumpers, he's very much a staying type, so he could do with going up a couple of, in trip, which he does here. He goes up to 1 mile 6. And he's on much better ground here than he was last time, which I think will make quite a difference because the family that he comes from tend to like decent going. So I think those two things together, you'll see a much improved run from Caledonia in this race. And like I said, I think it'll go off at a reasonable price because Cotan will make the market. So do you think he's got a bit more class than Cotan? I'm just quite keen to take Cotan on, but partly because he was beaten last time out, but he swerved violently left. He hung quite badly during that race. So, you think, well, he's not straightforward, and do you want to be taking a short price about a horse that isn't straightforward? I personally wouldn't, and Caledonia, I think, has got plenty in his favour in this particular race. He should put up a good show, I think. And Jim Goldie's in good form at the moment. He's had a few winners recently. Yeah, I like Jim Goldie. I think he's a really good trainer, especially up in the northern tracks. Ayr. He's you've got to look out for his horses. He's got a pile of them up there tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll come back with some winners. But let's hope he does it in the opener. All right, so that is Caledonia then in the 210 at Ayr. Now we're going to move on to today's racing at Newton Abbot, where Nick has 2 selections. And the first one is Maisie Missile in the 250 at Newton Abbot. It's won here before and owned, bred and trained by Mary Evans. Yeah, quite interesting because it pits mother against son, because Evan Williams has got a horse in there, Wester Ross. And Mary Evans, don't know if viewers are aware of it, is actually Evan's mother, who trains Maisie Missile, so it could be a family dispute there depending on who wins. But yeah, Maisie Missile is she's a good old mare, actually. She's a trusty old thing, and she loves Newton Abbot. Like you said, 2 of her 3 wins, her career wins, have come at the track. And although she didn't win last season, she did run some good races in defeat off higher marks. She's just starting to come back down the weights again now, which is quite interesting. I'm always looking for these horses, they've got a level, and when they win a couple, they go up, and they go up too much in the handicap, they can't win. They have to come back down again. And Maisie Missile is just in that zone again at the moment, where she's just come down slightly, and enough for her to hit the jackpot again, I think. And she comes here in good form because she's had a couple of runs this season. The first one wasn't too good, but that was just to blow away the cobwebs, I think. Much better at Uttoxeter last time, finished 3rd behind Captain Paulie, not beaten very far at all. That was on soft ground. She doesn't like soft ground. She wants the faster the better for her. So there's a good surface. It looks like it's going to be good ground at Newton Abbot. So that would really, really be in her favour. We know she goes over the course and distance very well. She's won over it before. Yeah. Paul Maloney gets on very, very well with her. And obviously he's riding that one as opposed to the Evan Williams horse. So yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. Again, similar with Caledonia, I expect a really, really solid run from Maisie Missile because it's all there for her. It's all in place. The opposition aren't what you would say, superstars. So she's got a decent squeak, I think, and especially, she's down at the bottom of the weights there. It does look quite an open race, though. So do you think we'll get a nice price? Yeah, I think so. I mean, she's not one that you'd ever back at a short price, or she would never go off a particularly short price because the kind of races she runs in, they're all these kind of trappy, summer 2 mile chases. But no, I think you'll get a reasonable price on it, definitely.
Okay, so Maisie Missile then in the 250 at Newton Abbot. Now for Nick's final selection of the day, also at the same track, and that is Titch Strider in the 320, one last time out.
Yeah, one last time out. It does need a bit of explaining this, because if you look at the figures, Otto the Great, trained by Nicky Henderson, 24 pounds in hand according to official ratings. So on the one hand, you'd say Titch Strider's got an absolute mountain to climb. But Otto the Great, the point I make about him, he was beaten last time out, the odds on, he's beaten odds on favourite, and 3 other times in his career he's been a beaten favourite as well. And I just get the feeling that he's no superstar, although he comes from the Nicky Henderson stable. And I just think Titch Strider is probably a little bit ahead of her mark, and Otto the Great maybe not worth his mark at the moment, so it might not be as much in it as the official ratings suggest. Titch Strider, she's a lovely little mare. She's tiny, she really lives up to her name. She's struggled to get her head in front, I think, a couple of times for that reason. She runs very solid races. She's been beaten in a few photos in her time, but really put it together last time at Wincanton. Won quite comfortably, won by a length and a half, which is really good display. And I just think I'm quite keen to, when a horse like Titch Strider has struggled to get her head in front, then all of a sudden does it, and she realises what's required to win. I quite like to be with them, because I think once they've done it once, they get into a habit and they can do it again. I don't think there's as much between them as, like I said, as the ratings suggest. And I think because Titch Strider is trained by John Panvert, who not many people would have heard of, and because Otto the Great is trained by Nicky Henderson, it goes without saying that the Henderson horse is going to go off. He'll probably go off odds on again, but like I was saying with Cotan, do you really want to take a short price about a horse that was a beaten favourite last time? I certainly wouldn't. Titch Strider is on the up. Conditions perfect for her. 2 miles 6 on decent ground, that's what she wants. And she's better than, her mark suggests, so I think she's got a little squeak. Okay, so Titch Strider in the 320 at Newton Abbot. And are you going to be backing any of these? Yeah, I back all of them, yeah, always do. Where's most of your money going tomorrow? I think Maisie Missile is the most solid one. I think she's got a cracking chance at Newton Abbot. Titch Strider is more speculative, but I think it should run very well. And Caledonia, again, should go well in an open race. But Maisie Missile's the best one out of the 3, I'd say. Okay, so Maisie Missile, the nap of the day at Newton Abbot. So as you know, Ben Hutton of the Betting Desk joins us every week on the phone to give us his anti-post bet. But as there's no big betting race this weekend, he's joining us to give us his Royal Ascot banker. So Ben, what's your best bet at the Royal meeting?
I think at the current stage, before we're sort of getting stuck into analysing the handicaps too much, I'm really liking SIMENON in the Gold Cup. He won 2 races at the Royal meeting last year, both over 2 mile 4 plus. Obviously the Gold Cup trip's 2 mile 4, and after that over 2 miles and slightly shorter. He didn't seem to be getting the necessary test of stamina, and those races weren't run at that much of a gallop. Still ran creditably in defeat, but I really think this step back up in trip's going to suit him ideally. We know he loves the course, and what a race he ran off top weight in the Chester Cup last time when he stormed home to finish 4th. So 12 to 1, I think he's likely to run his race. He's a good price, and there's no standout superstar, and I think he could be the one to win.
And it's SIMENON for Ryan Moore. This could be enough to claim the leading rider. William Buick's fighting out 3rd, which could be crucial. But up towards the line, SIMENON has won from Shawadi in 2nd place. Romeo Montague has...
And Rite of Passage currently heads the market. Is he a deserved favourite at this stage?
I think he's a deserved favourite, and Dermot Well's done tremendously well with him. He hasn't run that much. He won the race in 2010, and then at October on Champions Day, he was making his first start till May 2011, and he managed to win. So these absences are a concern, but Dermot Well's proved he can overcome them. So I'd rate him the biggest danger, but obviously it's not ideal for a horse who's as obviously fragile as him. You don't want to be putting too much faith in him as a favourite.
ASCOT, Rite of Passage between them. Rite of Passage is thundering and aching on the run to the line. What a training effort. Rite of Passage.
And the Queen's Estimate takes her chances in the race. She'll get the fillies weight allowance, and she's been very impressive this season. Can you see her up there in the finish?
Yeah, I think she'd be my main danger. She's a 10 to 1 shot, dual winner at ASCOT, 2 from 2 there. Won at the Royal meeting last year in the Queen's Vows, won the SAGARO on a rare appearance. Yet to go beyond 2 miles, but everything she does suggests this step up in trip's going to suit. It's just, I think, SIMENON's battle hardened and got the proven proven form. Estimate, I think we need to see a bit of improvement from, but yeah, very much respected.
And it's going to be another win at ASCOT for the Royal-owned Estimate. The Queen's Vase winner follows up in the SAGARO.
And what about last year's winner, Colour Vision? Can he bounce back to form?
Yeah, and disappointing on his reappearance as well. He could bounce back, but to be honest with you, he's very difficult to support based on what he's shown since he won that race.
Colour Vision, Barcelona on the near side of Dettori, and Dettori and Colour Vision is just in front. Colour Vision will win the Gold Cup, and Frankie Dettori.
So that's SIMENON in the ASCOT Gold Cup. Thank you for that, Ben, and thank you for watching today's show. Here's a recap of the selections up on the screen now. Good luck.